What is going on, Dodger fans? Hope everyone's doing well. If you are a Dodgers fan, life could not get better right now because your Los Angeles Dodgers are one win away from being back in the World Series. They have a 3-0 lead over the Milwaukee Brewers in the National League Championship Series. You are listening to the Incline Dodgers podcast presented by TickPick and Believe. Again, the Dodgers have a 3-0 series lead over the Milwaukee Brewers, the big, bad Milwaukee Brewers, who went 6-0 against the Los Angeles Dodgers during the regular season. The big, bad Milwaukee Brewers, who have the best record in Major League Baseball. They had the 1 seed. They had home field advantage. And all of that appears to be squandered as they find themselves in an 0-3 deficit. Lifetime teams are 1-40 when trailing 0-3 in a series. The 0-4 Red Sox and Dave Roberts know what it's like to come back. But this is feeling like it is a lock for the Dodgers to advance to the World Series. We don't know who they're going to take on as the Blue Jays and Mariners are all squared up at 2-2 in their ALCS. But the Dodgers, 1 win away. Yet again, Shohei Ohtani will get the ball, presumed tomorrow, to close this series out. And if you had to ask me how confident I am right now that they get the sweep, I'm feeling 10 out of 10. What is going on, everyone? We've got Daniel Berry Sports Highlight already talking about a three-peat. Well, let's get the 2 in first, and then we can talk about three-peat. I see BC in the chat, Jacob Perez, Frank Martinez. We will talk about NLCS MVP later on. I have my pick. I want to hear your guys' picks as well. But Dodgers 3-1 final score over the Brewers. The Dodgers starting pitching the story yet again. And Tyler Glasnow, the hero, gave the Dodgers a very strong 5 2/3 innings. Just 1 earned run allowed, 3 hits, 3 walks, and 8 strikeouts. He left the game with 2 outs in the 6th inning at 99 pitches, and then Alex Vesia came in, got the final out in the 6th, got it out in the 7th, and then he was removed after giving up a double. Blake Trinan, Anthony Bonda, they both got holds. Roki Sasaki, lights out for his save, his 3rd of the postseason. Had a clean 9th inning, including a strikeout, was dialing up to 100 miles per hour. At times, the splitter was unhittable, and Sasaki has a 1.29 playoff ERA. But the story, I think, again, is the Dodgers starting pitching. Another dominant performance, this time led by Tyler Glasnow. I think you can all put the narratives to rest that Tyler Glasnow is incapable of pitching in October, because this is 2 outings now this postseason, the only 2 of Tyler Glasnow in a Dodgers uniform in the playoffs, but he has dominated both outings. A playoff ERA of 0.68. He's got 16 strikeouts, and he's been nothing short of dominant. The Milwaukee Brewers are one of the most disciplined teams in all of Major League Baseball. They don't strike out a whole lot, and tonight, Tyler Glasnow kept them all in check. Lots of swings and misses, especially on the curveball and his breaking stuff. The fastball was about as good as it has looked all season. He had complete command overall. He was hitting his spots. I felt like the umpire squeezed him a couple times. And Tyler Glasnow, dominant. 18 strikeouts, 13 1/3 innings. I also forgot he pitched that one in relief in game 1 of the NLDS. The guy has been absolutely electric. We were waiting for this Ryan Pepio for Tyler Glasnow trade to come to fruition, and got to give credit to Andrew Friedman. He absolutely cooked. Tyler Glasnow is looking like a total gem and absolutely worth the haul that the Dodgers had to give up in a very talented pitcher in Ryan Pepio for Tyler Glasnow, who on most teams in Major League Baseball, he'd be the number 1. And yet, because the Dodgers are so deep, he's a 3 or a 4, however you want to look at it. What's up, Trolley Dodgers? What's up, Craig Osterberg? Make sure to smash that like button. we'll take your guys' questions or electric comments throughout the show. So again, make sure to hit that subscribe and like button, and just make it obvious if you have a question for me you want me to read out on the show. But kudos to Tyler Glasnow. He looked composed. Love seeing him pitch at Dodger Stadium. There's just something about Tyler Glasnow pitching in Los Angeles that seems to bold very well. Great stuff. So just a quick breakdown of Glasnow, then we'll get into the offense and kind of how the Dodgers won this game. But I mean, 30 fastballs, 26 sliders, 23 sinkers, 20 curveballs. Add that all together, there's your 99 pitches. And I love that he was mixing in 4 pitches, and he pretty much distributed those 4 pitches fairly even overall. So he had 14 whiffs. He generated 33 swings. All in all, his called strikes plus whiff percentage was 40, meaning he was absolutely dominant. I mean, the Brewers overall, they truly had no answer for him. I know they got the RBI double from Jake Bauers in the second inning. RBI single from Jake Bauers in the second inning, but that's all they really could afford. Christian Yelich, who is one of the top hitters on the Brewers team, he had 3 strikeouts today. Sal Frelick, 2 strikeouts. 12 strikeouts overall by the Milwaukee Brewers, and that is a lot of credit to the Dodgers bullpen, because every pitcher that pitched for the Dodgers today had at least 1 strikeout. And just how dominant have the Dodgers been as of late? It's not just Tyler Glasnow. It's the entire starting rotation. And there's just been so many awesome stats that keep breaking every day because of how powerful this Dodgers starting 4 has been. So in each of the last 4 games, the Dodgers pitching staff has allowed 1 or 0 runs, allowed fewer than 5 hits, allowed fewer than 5 walks, and struck out 7+ batters. No other MLB team in the modern era has done that in 4 straight games at any point, regular season or postseason. So that's credit to Opta Stats. So when you've got a string of guys like Blake Snell, Yoshinobu Yamamoto, Tyler Glasnow, and Shohei Ohtani, it's just immaculate. And I will break down how I think tomorrow's game is going to go. And I'm pretty convinced of what the outcome is going to be. So you'll want to stay tuned for that. Just a reminder again, hit that like button, drop any questions for us. Thank you guys for tuning in. So with the Dodgers now taking a 3-0 series lead against the Milwaukee Brewers, the hard part's done. There's a really good chance that the Milwaukee Brewers are not going to see another game in their home stadium this season. And I got to give credit to Dodger fans who attended today's game. It's not easy attending a 3 p.m. game in Los Angeles. The traffic is the worst in the country. The logistics to get to Dodger Stadium is the worst of any professional sports team outside of the Rose Bowl, which is technically college. But LA just has awful logistics to get to the vast majority of their stadiums. And so for those that were able to make the journey, credit to you. Overall, I cannot fault any fan for being late, because getting into that parking lot is an absolute nightmare. They need to find a way to expedite the process, because even the prepaid parking, they're still slow as can be. It's absolutely ridiculous. I've left 2 hours early and I'm still late because it's just a nightmare getting there. So again, thank you to the fans that were able to make it today. Tomorrow's game is at a much more reasonable time. 3 p.m. is just rough. So let's shift to the Brewers pitching real quick, and then we'll go back to our Dodgers bullpen. So I got to be honest, the Brewers are not very creative. I think you could smell from a mile away that they were going to go with Aaron Ashby. I mean, we've seen this movie before, and it may have worked the first time, but just because it worked the first time does not guarantee it's going to work a second time. Right out of the gate, Shohei Ohtani leads off the game with a leadoff triple. And that's might as well be as good as a home run, because I'll take my chances with the guys to follow him, to drive him home. And that's exactly what Mookie Betts did. Got an RBI double immediately, his 4th of the playoffs. Dodgers take an early 1-0 lead. You had Mookie Betts at second base with nobody out. Unfortunately, and it was a little annoying, they weren't able to drive in Mookie Betts, which they honestly should have. But all in all, Aaron Ashby only got 1 out. And then they passed the baton to Jacob Mizorowski, who in my opinion, is the most fearsome pitcher that the Brewers have to offer on their entire pitching staff, even though he's a rookie. And Ashby got charged with the loss, but he pitched much better than being awarded a loss. I mean, he really kept the Dodgers in check. He was able to throw 5 innings in relief, something that he hasn't really done consistently down the stretch. They've kind of cut down his innings, used him as a bulk guy in the bullpen, only allowed 3 hits and had 9 strikeouts in 5 innings. He threw 73 pitches. He gave up 1 earned run. He ended up giving up 2 runs technically because of Abner Uribe, who kind of gifted the Dodgers a run and then essentially gifted the Dodgers the game. But when Mizorowski was in there, they couldn't touch him overall. Ohtani was striking out. Betts was striking out. Smith was striking out. Edman was striking out. Everybody was striking out. I mean, this is the same pitcher that had 12 strikeouts against the Dodgers back in July when he had made like 3 or 4 career major league starts. And something about the Dodgers and Mizorowski just unlocks on sheer confidence from him. So yeah, Mizorowski pitched great. I have a lot of respect for him. I think he's got a bright future in the pros. He's kind of like B-level Paul Skeens in my opinion. Like if you can't afford Paul Skeens, like the Erewhons of the world, then you'll dial it back and go to a Whole Foods, which is still a really good grocery store. And I think that's how I would compare Mizorowski. So he's no Erewhon, but he's definitely a Whole Foods. So a lot of respect there. But anyways, Tommy Edman, Mr. NLCS. I mean, this guy just seems to rise to the occasion every year now because he was the NLCS MVP last season when he annihilated the New York Mets, drove in the go-ahead run this evening to put the Dodgers up 2-1. He had an RBI single. Will Smith scored. And then when Mizorowski was pulled from the game because Edman gave out the knockout punch, they brought in Abner Uribe, and Uribe attempted to pick off Edman at first. Ultimately, it was a really erratic throw, shades of Edgardo Henriquez earlier in the year when he had that shitty-ass throw. But anyways, Uribe threw it away. Freeman was able to score. That put the Dodgers up 3-1 in the 6th inning, and that was all the Dodgers needed. No team scored after that. The Dodgers didn't score. The Brewers obviously didn't score. But this Brewers bullpen, I mean, a lot of people talk them up like they were the best in Major League Baseball. Through 3 games, the Dodgers have had their number in every single game. So even though Uribe didn't technically give up an earned run, he had the inherited run. And this is a guy that had a 1.67 ERA during the regular season. I believe he's had 3 appearances now with the Dodgers, and he's been responsible for a run scoring in every single game. Game 1, he gave up a run. Game 2, he gave up a run. And then today in Game 3, he gave up an inherited run. So the Dodgers have got to him. The one guy they still cannot seem to figure out of the bullpen is Jared Koenig, but today did not matter. So fortunately for us, the Dodgers took care of Mizorowski. They took care of the Brewers, and now they lead 3-0. I mean, you go from the Philadelphia Phillies, who I feel like were a much more fearsome team, to now the Milwaukee Brewers, who, I mean, they're good, but this is like going from I don't know, a supermodel to your average Joe. Like the global gym was the Phillies, and the average Joes is the Brewers. And I know that the average Joes beat the global gym in dodgeball, but all in all, this Brewers team, like, they never struck fear in me from the start. I didn't want to come into the series cocky and make too many bold predictions like we were going to annihilate them. But at this point, with the Dodgers having a 3-0 lead, I don't think they're going to blow it. Like Daniel Barry's Sports Highlights is saying, I agree. I texted this to someone else. This series has been a cakewalk. I mean, of all the playoff series in my Dodgers fanhood life, it's got to be top 2 or top 3 of easiest series we've ever had. And the Brewers fans and Dodger haters, they're going to cry on their other podcasts, or they're going to cry on the radio that the salary cap is why something we need to implement, because it's just not fair that the Dodgers are spending any money. Well, newsflash, all 30 teams are led by owners that have pockets full of money. It just is unfortunate that half of them don't want to shell out cash. I mean, the Milwaukee Brewers, they have plenty of money, and it's their choice to let a guy like Corbin Burns walk. It's their choice to let a guy like Willie Adames walk. It's their choice to trade away Devin Williams or get rid of Josh Hader. So I don't want to hear it. You guys had your opportunities to draft and then develop and then maintain a superstar team, and your ownership is just cheap. And so you have to deal with the consequences, and you have two good starters. I think Jose Quintana will be their game 4 starter. They'll probably open up with a bullpen. I'm guessing Tyler McGill will be the opener for the Brewers tomorrow. And if he gets a clean inning to start the first, he's going to walk off the field, pump his fist, and act like he just closed out in the ninth. And I don't know if any Dodgers relievers have done that in recent memory, where they opened a game, and then when they walked off the field in the first inning, they acted like they just freaking clinched the game's elimination game or the ninth inning. But that's exactly what freaking Tyler McGill or whatever his name is did in game 1. And I wouldn't be surprised if he does that again, even though this time his team's down 3-0. So I'm guessing they go McGill to open it. They're going to give it to Jose Quintana. And Jose Quintana is a guy that the Dodgers have just destroyed every October. I mean, let's go to 2017. That was the Kike Hernandez 3-home-run bonanza game. They knocked off the Cubs. Last year, Jose Quintana pitched for the Mets. The Dodgers destroyed him. I think he gave up 5 runs. Edman may have homered off him. I don't really remember. I'd have to look it up. But regardless, Tommy Edman was NLCS MVP. The NLCS, I may have said NLDS, but I meant NLCS. Last year was electric. It was also a blur. Today's my daughter's 1-year birthday, so happy birthday to her. But yes, the Dodgers now 3-0. They're going to take care of this. So I'll get the script in right now. So what do I expect? Shohei Ohtani is going to go out there. I don't think they're going to push him, to be honest. I mean, why would they? They're up 3-0 in this series. I think if you get 5 innings out of Shohei Ohtani and the Dodgers have a lead, I think you're good with that. I mean, Ohtani hasn't pitched in, since game 1 of the NLDS, and that feels like a long time ago. I mean, we're talking like 10-plus days ago. So I don't think they want to push Shohei Ohtani. Likely who you'll see come out of the bullpen to follow Ohtani, it's going to depend who's up in the order, but I wouldn't be surprised if Jack Dreyer makes an appearance. I expect Emmett Sheehan to work the bulk innings. He might go 2 innings. Maybe he goes a little more than 2 innings. And we'll see what the score is. But I'm telling you, I think the Dodgers are going to shell Jose Quintana. I think they smell blood in the water, and they know that they're facing a very depleted, defeated, and crippled Brewers team. And Jose Quintana, they're going to let him go out there and die. I mean, this is a guy that's not part of their future. I don't think they want to overwork their main core arms, especially trailing in a series. And Lance Lynn, I'm bringing up his name. I think Lance Lynn is going to basically be reincarnated, but this time in the body of Jose Quintana. And so if Jose Quintana gives them 6-7 innings, that's a good thing for the Dodgers, because I think they're going to light him up like a Christmas tree. I think the Dodgers are going to score close to 10 runs tomorrow. I'm just going to be super aggressive here. I think they want to get this thing done. I think they want to lay back, enjoy some time off, and chill and just sip on some beers or wine coolers and watch the Blue Jays and Mariners sweat it out. And then the Dodgers, when the World Series rolls up, they'll feel very rested. Their rotation will be very, very relaxed and rested as well. And then they can do exactly what they just did in this NLCS. They can have Snell go 8 innings again. They can have Yamamoto go 8 innings. I'm not expecting another complete game. Tyler Glasnow, maybe he'll pitch more than 5 2/3. Maybe he goes 6 or 7. But the fact that the Dodgers have a chance to get this series over with and only needing to use their Fantastic Four one time through each would be such a blessing, because the fact that the Dodgers had to play a wild card series and they've been able to limit all their starters overall, and you can throw the bullpen in that mix for that matter as well. I think that's massive. I mean, you had to play 2 against the Reds. You had to play 4 against the Phillies. Now you have a really strong possibility of skating by and only having to play 4 in an NLCS. I think that's huge. I think that's a huge advantage, especially for the World Series, which is, of course, the last round. And that's when you can completely empty the tank. So I talked about Sheehan. I talked about possibly seeing Dryer. We'll see what the score is, but I'm calling my shot. I think you might see some Klein Kershaw tomorrow. There's your guy to eat some innings. He's historically owned the Brewers. They're not a power team like the Milwaukee or like the Philadelphia Phillies. So you won't have to worry about a Kyle Schwarber home run or anything like that. And if the Dodgers have a 5+ run lead, why not just hand the ball off to Clayton Kershaw? And I don't know, maybe give him that memory. If the score is, out of sight, let him close it out and let him get that final out in the NLCS. I mean, I don't see any issues against it if the Dodgers have a huge lead. I mean, you can have some of your top guys warming up just in case he has a meltdown. But I don't envision if the Dodgers have like a 10-3 lead, I don't think you need to worry about Clayton Kershaw blowing it. I'm just saying. So I really do think like I'm feeling pretty good about it. I think they're going to absolutely shell Quintana or whoever the Milwaukee Brewers throw out there. This series is done. Like, how can the Brewers come back? I mean, they don't have the starting pitching depth. Their offense has just been completely lifeless, and we should feel really good about this Dodgers team's positioning. So I see some people dropping some comments. I'll see if there's any questions I can get to. But again, make sure to hit that like button and hit that subscribe if you're new. I'm just going to post real quick to make sure more people are on here. So 1 second. But yeah, I mean, let's get into some of these comments real quick. So Adolf Hipster, always appreciate you hanging in here at Hipster. I miss the Phillies. Those tight, intense games felt like the real World Series. Does cruising past the Brewers feel less exciting? Well, I mean, that lines up with a lot of what I was saying for well over a month now, that the Dodgers and Phillies probably was the real World Series. And it didn't need to be a best of 7 because the Dodgers took care of business in 4. And the Phillies, they had their chances. Their offense was really kept in check. And now you got the GM, it sounds like, throwing Bryce Harper under the bus. So it's pretty volatile, and there's a storm brewing up in Philadelphia. But honestly, I think we deserve kind of a stress-free path to the World Series for once, because there have been some really, really close, intense, stressful series. There has been times where the Dodgers got screwed and they were the better team and they didn't get a World Series out of it. So I think we've earned this right to have a path where we're cruising in a round for once. So I'll take it. We'll see what happens in the World Series itself. I think the Blue Jays or the Seattle Mariners have a lot more to offer than the Brewers. I think either of those teams are certainly more of a threat. I don't think they're better than the Dodgers, but I do think they have a little more to offer. Let's see. Call me _Astro. I think the Brewers got too cute with the series. Instead of coming in like the best team in the league, they really played like they were down 2-0 from the start of the series. I pretty much agree with this comment. I feel like the manager, Pat Murphy, was trying to play mind games, and honestly, the mind games don't work when you don't really have great starting pitching depth. And they're pretty predictable, to be honest. Like, they act like they're going to be sneaky with these openers or who they go with out of the bullpen, but they have no depth in the lineup. They can't really bring anyone off the bench that's going to scare you with the bat. Their bullpen, they have a few good arms, but they also have a few just weak arms. And so when you go to the same guys over and over, like, the Dodgers are going to figure them out because the Dodgers are too talented of a team. And the Dodgers probably used that downtime to scout the Brewers very heavily. I'm sure they spent some time scouting the Cubs as well, but I feel like the Dodgers scouts probably run as deep as any other team in all of baseball. And so when you don't have a lot of depth, it makes you predictable. And then the Dodgers scouts, it makes it a really easy assignment for them. I mean, they scout Peralta because they know he's their one true starter. And then what are you're gonna put some focus on Mizorowski because you know he's coming in. And then it's just the other guys like Uribe. They're gonna throw him every game, so they probably had a game plan for Uribe. They're gonna throw Ashby a lot. They had a game plan for Ashby. And then the bats, it's like, you know who's the threats? It's Churio at the top. It's Yelich. It's Terang to an extent. They're just a very predictable and shallow team. And I think the Dodgers just expose them. Let's be real. Dodger Dugan, it's Nick. He was with me the other night. 3-0 like we predicted. Hell yeah. Dodgers have their foot on the Brewers' throat right now. So I'm ready. I'm ready for it. We got Jacob Perez. I really want Sheehan to pitch tomorrow. He needs to loosen up and grow his confidence ahead of the World Series. What do you think? I think Emmett Sheehan is just fallen into kind of a situation where he's a creature of habit. Like during the regular season, you know when your time is up, or you know when your spot is due up, and so he's able to mentally prepare for it. In the playoffs, I don't know if he has the same mental prep time. So I think Emmett Sheehan is still very talented. I would still go to him in high leverage or when the situation calls for it. I still have a lot of trust in Emmett Sheehan. I think he's still top 3, top 4 in the Dodgers bullpen of options we have to offer. And so until Emmett Sheehan gives me a reason not to go to him, I'm still willing to ride that hand, and I'm a Sheehan believer. Fortunately for the Dodgers, they haven't needed to really depend on their bullpen. That could change in the World Series, but if they do need to ride the pen a little bit more in the World Series, I have a lot of confidence in Sheehan, and I'd like to see him be used. I don't know. I do not want to see Clayton Kershaw start against Max Scherzer. I do want to see Max Scherzer start against the Dodgers. I would love to shell him. Ironic that this is a guy that is showing passion for the Blue Jays, but he didn't show that same passion for the Dodgers when they were playing in an NLCS. How convenient. I guess now that he knows no more big checks are coming because he's cashed in, he's willing to lay it all out there for a team like the Blue Jays. But when you had Clayton Kershaw and Walker Buehler in your staff, you didn't want to display that same heart and passion for those guys. Thanks a lot, Max Scherzer. I know you won tonight, but thanks a lot. Anyways, who is your guys' NLCS MVP? So I'll give you guys a second to maybe drop that in the comments, or if you want to think about it. But this is an interesting series because from an offensive perspective, there really has not been a Dodgers hitter that's truly stood out. I mean, Max Muncy, he had a couple big hits. Tommy Edman, he had a couple big knocks. But I think the NLCS MVP, it's going to probably be two of them because I don't really know how you pick one over the other. But I think it's got to be Blake Snell and Yoshinobu Yamamoto. I think you give them NLCS co-MVP. I mean, it speaks for itself. Blake Snell threw 8 shutout innings, and then Yoshinobu Yamamoto threw a complete game, 1-run ball game. And so you get 17 innings to cover those first 2 games. You literally have your whole bullpen rested. So I think they're going to give a co-MVP to both Blake Snell and Yoshinobu Yamamoto. I don't even think if someone has a 3 home run game tomorrow, I don't even know if that's good enough to get NLCS MVP, to be honest. Because when you have 2 starters that dominated and just set the tone like that, like, I don't care that they both played in 1 game. Like, at the end of the day, that's 25% of what you need to accomplish to get farther in advance to the World Series. And so when Blake Snell, Yoshinobu Yamamoto cover 50% of your wins, that's good enough for me. So that's my pick. I'm not swaying off it. Snell, Yamamoto, you are my co-MVPs. Congratulations to both of you. You guys just absolutely dominated. That's just been the story of the Dodgers starting staff pretty much in the second half. And so I'll read a couple comments real quick, and then I'll get into my theory of kind of why the Dodgers starting staff has been dominant. But I mean, at the end of the day, the Dodgers have allowed 1 run in game 1, 2 hits. They allowed 1 run in game 2, 3 hits. They allowed 1 run in game 3, 4 hits. And then this is a credit to Jason Katiana, however you say it, Catania, add in the NLDS game 4. So that was the game where they played the Phillies in extra innings. 1 run, 4 hits. The Dodgers are the first team to allow 1 run or fewer and 4 hits or fewer in 4 straight postseason games. So the Dodgers clearly saved their best ball for the playoffs. I mean, it's miraculous. So let's see what else we've got here. Javier T, do you think they close it out tomorrow? I've been talking about that for the last 15 minutes. Lock it in. They're getting the sweep. The Brewers are done. Jose Quintana is going to be their Lance Lynn. I think they just punt the game, to be honest, on the Brewers' end, and the Dodgers just annihilate it. Dodger Dugan, Banda trying to invest. Sasaki look prime and ready, and for the World Series, bullpen peaking at the right time. The Dodgers figured out who they can trust in the bullpen. I think that was the theme of the last 2 months. That's why I didn't exactly panic when they were going with Tanner Scott at times to let him close it out, especially when it felt like the division was locked up. After they were done with the Padres, I was like, whatever, test it out. But they gave Tanner Scott opportunities. He blew it. They gave Kirby Yates plenty of opportunities. He was a gas can. They gave Michael Kopech some reps. Just didn't have it this year. Probably done as a Dodger. I expect them to move on from him. And then Blake Trinan, another guy they wanted to give opportunities to close it out. He didn't have it either. So now Blake Trinan is more of a setup guy, which I think is the more appropriate role for him. But this bullpen was ecstatic tonight. They went, 3 1/3, allowed just 1 hit, 4 strikeouts. Again, every reliever had a strikeout. So they were locked in. So credit to the Dodgers bullpen. Anthony Banda, who I haven't seen a whole lot of, he looked really good. And then Roki Sasaki, he had his 3rd save. So good stuff. Appreciate everyone tuning in. Again, reminder to hit that like button, and I'll take your guys' questions. Make sure to share the podcast with your friends if you want them to join the chat. The more, the merrier. So I'm going to give now my theory as to why the Dodgers starting staff has been dominant down this stretch. So first of all, Yoshinobu Yamamoto is the outlier because he pitched the entire season. Maybe because the Dodgers had Yamamoto miss significant time last season. That's why we're not seeing the World Series hangover with Yamamoto per se, because ultimately last season, Yamamoto pitched 90 innings in the regular season. And then in the postseason, he threw, looks like another 8 plus 12, about 18 innings. So 108 innings last season. This season, Yoshinobu Yamamoto threw 174, I'll round up, 174 innings this regular season. So a lot of innings. But let's get into the other guys. So let's start with Tyler Glasnow. What was something I was advocating a lot during the offseason of how the Dodgers need to handle Tyler Glasnow? I was saying you need to bubble wrap him. Keep him out till July. I don't care. I just need this guy pitching in the playoffs. And so what do the Dodgers do with Tyler Glasnow? They let him start like four, maybe 5 games to kick off the year. And then where does he end up? He ends up on the IL. And he was out for, 2, maybe 3 months. And so now you look at how many innings Tyler Glasnow pitched in the 2025 regular season. 90 innings. So you're telling me a guy who has only 90 innings under his belt is now ready to pitch in the playoffs, and he's peaking at the right time because he doesn't have that big of a workload and he doesn't have that big of a toll on him? I think that's a recipe for success. I don't know if the Dodgers strategically were anticipating him getting hurt, but obviously what they did with Tyler Glasnow last season did not work. You do not let this guy go in there every outing, pitch 7, maybe even 8 innings with a guy that's never stayed healthy, and then expect him to be ready for October. Not a chance. And so I think the Dodgers, even if it was like a little boo-boo for Tyler Glasnow, they used that as an excuse to shut him down, and then they brought him back for the second half because they have the depth to let other guys like Dustin May, Clayton Kershaw, Emmett Sheehan, you name it. They can just throw some guys out there and they'll eat the innings, and they may not be the freshest arms in the playoffs, but the Dodgers do not care if a guy like Tyler Glasnow is peaking at the right time. Blake Snell, another example. The last 2 years now with Blake Snell, he has not logged a lot of innings. Last season for the San Francisco Giants, Blake Snell only threw 104 innings. This season for the Dodgers, Blake Snell only threw 61 innings. He made like 2 starts in the first half. Then he went on the IL. All in all, Blake Snell made 11 starts during the regular season. This is like 2020 all over again when you've got Kershaw, Buehler, Gonsolin, May, you name it. They were all peaking at the right time heading into the 2020 playoffs. And I think stuff like this plays a huge favor and a huge advantage for the Dodgers because, again, if Blake Snell only had 9 starts leading up to the playoffs, that's enough time to be in your groove. That's enough time to be peaking at the right time. He's not coming off a 180 inning season where he's now maybe potentially burned out and running on fumes. I mean, Blake Snell is perfectly rested. He's got enough reps and innings under his belt to be in peak form, have his mechanics down. And so, again, I think this worked out beautifully for the Dodgers. You've got Glasnow peaking. You got Snell peaking right before October. And I think that also plays a factor with Shohei Ohtani. I mean, let's look at Shohei Ohtani. Obviously, he did not pitch last year at all for the Dodgers as he was recovering from his second elbow surgery. But other seasons for Ohtani, I'm trying to pull up his pitching logs. I do not want to see his batting. But in 2023, the guy threw a lot of innings for the Angels, and he ran out of gas. I mean, 2021, 130 innings. This is after 2020. He pitched 2 innings, so I think he had his Tommy John. 130 innings. Then 2022, 166 innings. 2023, 132 innings, and that's when he completely fatigued. His elbow had another tear, whatever. He had to get the brace, and so he missed all of 2024. During the regular season for the Dodgers, this go around, he only logged 47 innings. And in my opinion, I think 47 innings is enough to prove whether you've got it or you don't got it. And I think that allowed Ohtani. The game planning was just spectacular because by the time the playoffs were ready, they proved that Ohtani could be stretched out to 6 innings, and you're absolutely locked in. So, hell yeah. Good stuff from the Dodgers. I think that is the game plan, and I think it worked out. I think they saw from last season that you can't expect guys like Tyler Glasnow to pitch a whole year. You are putting yourself in a very vulnerable spot by relying on 3 good starters and then bullpen games. So, I mean, I could be wrong, but I feel like that is the game plan. Maria G, do we see Tanner Scott this postseason? The Dodgers are 8-1 without Tanner Scott logging an inning this October. I don't think you see Tanner Scott this postseason because, let's be real, they haven't needed Tanner Scott. And they've got the lefties in Dreyer and Vesia and Bonda. I don't think you need Tanner Scott. I don't think you see him. You'll never see Michael Conforto suit up for the Dodgers again. We are good. Javier T, if the Dodgers go against the Blue Jays, do you think it goes 6 or 7 games? I don't think it goes 7. I would say probably 5 or 6. Call me _ Astro. This is why they signed them all. if even one of those guys wasn't available, I would still feel pretty good about the postseason. I absolutely agree. I think if one of those four weren't available, you could slot in Emmett Sheehan, and I think if Emmett Sheehan was that fourth starter, he'd be dealing as well, and we'd be talking about him in this company. So unfortunately for Sheehan, to the benefit of the Dodgers, but unfortunately for Sheehan, the staff is just too good to need him right now. But again, I think Sheehan is excellent, and I would have felt really good about him starting. So if we had lost another Glasnow again or Snell or whatever, Sheehan, I think, could have filled that void, and we'd be just fine. Aaron Eck, 5 more wins, Kevin. Absolutely. We just need to get one more tomorrow. And then we talk about the World Series. MWG, let's go Dodgers. Hell yeah. So we're going to run into the final stretch now. So again, if you have not hit that like button, please hit the like button. Those likes are very important for the show. It helps gain traction. And if you have questions for us, or me, I guess I should say, get those questions in, because we're going to head out to the final stretch. But little bit of a little off-season rumbling real quick, and then we'll talk final thoughts NLCS. So Robert Murray dropped his early free agent thoughts. I know that we're in the thick of the postseason, so we're not really thinking about playoff baseball, but there were 2 names that he linked to the Dodgers. He usually lists like 3 or 4 teams that he views as fits. So it wasn't just the Dodgers alone in these ones, but again, he had Kyle Tucker and the Dodgers linked up. It was like, I think the Phillies and the Cubs and the Dodgers as a fit for Kyle Tucker. Kyle Tucker is one of those players where I don't want to pay $400 million for him. I think he's really good. I think he had a lot of injuries this season that kind of held him back. But I don't think the Dodgers need to drop $400 million on a guy like Kyle Tucker. That just feels like overkill. But if it falls into like the Freddie Freeman situation where nobody wants to pay this guy and he is insane value for the Dodgers, if they can get him for like 5 years, $30 million a year or whatever, sure, why not? That's the league's fault in that case, but I would not be aggressive. The other name that was linked to the Dodgers was a fan favorite, former Padre, soon to be probably former Yankee, Trent Grisham. He had a very good year for the Yankees. I think a lot of that was contract magic, so it's hard to really buy stock in him. I mean, he went from hitting 190 with 9 home runs in 2024 to 34 home runs with a 811 OPS. Again, it is a contract year. Grisham is a good center fielder, so if they do feel like he's a fit, I could see them having Teo in right or left and Pages in right or left, and Grisham would probably play center. This is a guy I would not pay a lot of money to, maybe a 2-year, $14 to $18 million contract. I know he's not very popular among Dodger fans, but I wouldn't hate it at the end of the day. He did suck in this most recent playoff stretch. He hit 167 in the wild card round, and then he hit 118 in the ALDS against the Blue Jays. So he was pretty bad and completely fell apart when it mattered most. MWG, what's the final score tomorrow? I got Dodgers 10, Brewers 3. I think we're gonna light them up. We're gonna drop 10 runs, and Kike Hernandez, he's gonna drive in at least 2 runs. Teoscar Hernandez, I think he hits a home run. Mookie Betts gets in on the fun. Edman gets in on the fun. Will Smith, maybe he gets an extra base hit. But I think the Dodgers just steamroll the Brewers tomorrow. I mean, Pat Murphy, I think he's the pocket pancake guy. I'm sure the pancake magic is done. Like, eat your pancakes at this point. Maybe you need to switch to waffles or French toast, because the pancake magic, it's over, bro. Jacob Perez, do you think our starting pitchers are going to have a hard time against the Blue Jays, who have been winning their games in the double digits? I mean, the Blue Jays did drop the first 2 games to the Mariners, so it's not like they're unstoppable by any means. And yeah, I mean, I'm going to call it like it is. They played the Yankees, who have a bunch of frauds on their team. Like Max Fried is the worst postseason pitcher of all time. Like I'm the least surprised in the entire world that Max Fried would have a stinker in the postseason. Carlos Rodon, massively overrated. He sucked in the World Series last year as well. Another fraud. This go around against the Blue Jays. I mean, the Blue Jays going around against the Mariners. I mean, yeah, they got to a couple good Mariners pitchers, but at the end of the day, they have not seen a lot of looks against guys like Snell or Ohtani or Glasnow or Yamamoto. So I think the Dodgers will have the huge upper hand. And let's look at the facts. The more games that the Blue Jays have to play right now, that means less time for them to focus on prepping for the Dodgers. So huge advantage for us. So right now we don't know who we're going to play. So I'm sure once the Dodgers seal this deal, the scouts they're on it. They're going to watch out for the Mariners, who we swept to end the regular season, and they'll watch out for the Blue Jays, who they have some thunder. I mean, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. has been a specimen this October. I think he's hitting like over 400 with 5 home runs. So he's been elite. George Springer has been on another level as well. I would love to get revenge on that cheater. So I think they're going to be motivated to get that guy out as well. So I'm not too worried. LLM 213. Go get Luis Robert Jr. Why? Why would we need Luis Robert Jr.? He's making $20 million next season unless the White Sox void his contract. So I do not care for Luis Robert Jr. No name. Who would I rather face in the World Series? So the better World Series, I think, for an entertainment standpoint would probably be Dodgers Mariners. But who I'd rather face, I think I'd take Toronto. I don't think their starting pitching strikes any fear in me at all. Kevin Gausman, there's a guy we've had before. We've got into him. Max Scherzer's old. We're gonna destroy Max Scherzer. They had to drop Jose Barrios to the bullpen because he's been bad. That rookie Yisevich, he's been pretty good. Not Mizorowski good, but pretty good overall. He had an incredible start in the ALDS against or maybe the wild card round. No, I think it was the ALDS against the Yankees. But regardless, yeah, I think their starting pitching is overall thin. I don't think their bullpen is really that deep either. I haven't done a lot of scouting of who's in the Blue Jays pen. I know that Louis Varlin, who they acquired from the Twins, he's been kind of one of their guys they're relying pretty heavily on. Braden Fisher, former Dodger prospect, he's been a breakout guy. Jeff Hoffman, who they signed to a multi-year deal, he's been up and down for them. I'm sure they would lean on him. But yeah, the Blue Jays, the one thing about them, they don't strike out a lot. They were like second. They had the second least amount of strikeouts. They're a very, very disciplined team. Javier T, do you think this offseason the Dodgers pick up big names? It's a little too early for me to think about big names, but yeah, I mean, I think they're going to address the bullpen for sure. I think they're going to have a pretty big bullpen overall. Starting pitching wise, I think they're pretty set. Outfielder wise, I think they will add an outfielder, but I don't think it's going to be anyone that noteworthy. I think if the Dodgers can seal this deal, why not just basically run it back? So Rojas probably will be re-signed. Kike will probably be re-signed. They're going to have to make a decision between Rortvedt and Rushing, but one of them will probably be traded unless they accept a AAA assignment, which I guess in that case, Dalton Rushing would be the one they probably option to AAA. But yeah, I mean, it's the most exciting time of the year. It's NLCS. Dodgers almost on the verge of another World Series. So 2017 was when we broke through the seal. 2018, we almost did it as well. 2020, we actually won the World Series. 2024, we got back there again, won the World Series. And now 2025, let's do it. All right. Well, I think that's going to conclude the stream tonight. Unless there's any last second questions, but I'm not going to do anything superstitious. I see that death trap question. I'm going to ignore that for now. But thank you guys so much for this Game 3 NLCS recap. Credit to Tyler Glasnow. He was electric. The bullpen was fantastic. And Dave Roberts, he pulled all the right levers. Your Dodgers now lead 3-0 over the Milwaukee Brewers. If you're listening on the audio feed, make sure you're subscribed, leave a review. And if you're watching on YouTube, make sure to drop a comment. Let's see your Game 4 predictions. So we'll be back probably tomorrow. We'll see what happens. So let's go Dodgers. Thank you guys for listening to the Klein Dodgers podcast. Kevin Klein out.